discuss with Republican Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana. Senator, always a pleasure to have you on the show. We were reporting on that oil rig fire that's going on and the search efforts in Lake Pontchartrain. So our best to the communities that are dealing with that.
Chris. Thank you, Chris. All
right, so when we're talking about Washington, D.C., what is your take on the possibility for progress on any of these hot issues?
I'm an optimist. I think on tax reform, I would give us a 55 to 60% chance right now. So, I would like to think we'll get some Democratic support, and we might if we get to 50 votes. I don't think any Democrats will provide the 50th vote. I regret that, but that's just political reality.
So you're thinking this happens this year? And we've been saying tax reform, but it seems really this is about tax cuts. That'll seem like a semantical interest to most of the audience, but it's a real one from your perspective. These aren't long-term policies that are going to be put in place. They're probably shorter-term cuts, but do you think it can get done this year?
Well, it better, Chris. It better for two reasons. Number one, our economy needs it. Number two, the people in charge at the moment here in Washington, my party, we need it. Now, that doesn't mean we need to just pass anything. We need to do it right. But I believe that if we reduce everyone's taxes, including and especially ordinary Americans, but not just them, businesses as well, then I think you'll see the economy grow. It's not going to bust through the ceiling, but I think you can see a half to a point of GDP growth. It'll get us back to average, which is supposed to be about 3%. We're at about 1.9% now, and that's why we don't have the jobs we should have. And more importantly, that's why you haven't seen wages going up. That and the fact that businesses have had to spend so much money on health care, they haven't been able to give people a pay raise.
Let's deal with the politics, and then we'll get into some of these policy considerations that you're putting together here for us. Lindsey Graham seemed to up the urgency, especially for the GOP, in getting something done on taxes. Here's what he said.
Are you going to get tax reform done?
Yeah, if we don't, we're dead. If we don't cut taxes and we don't eventually repeal and replace Obamacare, then we're going to lose across the board in the House in 2018. And all of my colleagues running in primaries in 2018 will probably get beat. It will be the end of Mitch McConnell as we know it.
Truthful hyperbole, as the president said in one of his earlier works, or do you think the stakes are as dire as the senator lays them out?
I wouldn't have put it exactly like Lindsey put it, but I think it is urgent, and here's why. Forget the politics. There are too many people in America who aren't sharing the great wealth of this country. And they're ordinary people, and they tell me every day, Kennedy, I look around, I see too many undeserving people at the top getting bailouts, and I see too many undeserving people at the bottom getting handouts, and I'm stuck in the middle, and I can't pay it anymore because my health insurance has gone up, and my kids' tuition has gone up, and my taxes have gone up. But I tell you what hadn't gone up, my income. And they're angry, and they're on both sides of the aisle. They're Bernie Sanders supporters, and they're Donald Trump supporters. And we need to help those ordinary Americans believe in the American dream again. And to me, that's what tax reform is all about.
But Senator, how do you look those people in the eye who, let's say the Trump base part of them, when the proposal he just put out, estate taxes, helping out those at the top, big businesses getting cuts that little businesses that are the engines of this economy are not getting, payroll taxes not touched. That's how you help working class Americans. I don't need to tell you this. You've been talking about it for decades. But that's what the president's putting out. That is not designed to help the working class. The estate tax doesn't help the working class.
Well, a couple of points. Number one, the president put out an outline. That's not necessarily what the Senate's going to do. The bill's being drafted right now. Number two, you've heard me talk about it. Quickest way to help the middle class, double the standard deduction. For a couple making $70,000 a year, that's going to give them a couple of $1,000s extra in their paycheck.
No, that would help. But I'm saying he put it out and said this helps the middle class. How? It's not doing the things that you're talking about.
But the outline's not the law yet. We're going to draft. We're drafting the bill.
I know, but
now.
I'm saying if I present it to you and say this is for the middle class, and most of it is helping the upper tier, it's going to be hard for you to take my intentions.
But let me hit your point well on, or head on, Chris. 10% of all Americans, all taxpayers, pay 71% of the taxes. Many of them are small business owners. It's impossible to do meaningful tax cuts or tax reform or whatever you want to call it without helping the so-called wealthy, if you define wealthy, the top 10%. But among those wealthy are folks who are heads of large C corps. I want to help them, but I also want to help the small business women. Yeah. The S corps and the
outline
LLCs.
helps them, but doesn't help them the way it helps the C corps, the big corporations. How is this targeted? I mean, that was the promise. That's what the president said. You're in his party. This is his outline. It is not set up to focus on the people that you're saying it's set up to focus on. Where's the disconnect?
Well, if you look at what I'm talking about doing, and I think the Senate will go in that direction, we're talking about lowering the tax for a C corp, the large C corp, to somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 25%. And the same for small business people and LLCs and sub-S corporations. If you're the president of a small sub-S corporation right now, you've got 10 people working for you. Let's say you make $150,000 a year. You're paying about 43% in taxes.
Absolutely. Understood.
And so I want to help both of them.
Senator, but I totally hear you. We'll see how you guys bang out the details. I'm just saying the outline as it came does not give equal treatment to C corps and smaller ones.
Point.
But let's see what you do with it. Senator, you're always welcome here to argue the case.
Thanks, Chris. Take care.
Be well.